morning, and thank you so much for joining us for the first show this morning. My name is Carol Tumwine. It is the 10th of May 2021. Another decade just began just this year, and we are getting to the middle of the year. A lot of things have happened in this year, including the general elections that happened in January 14th, where we saw President Museveni beating 11 other candidates to go back into power, where he has been for the last 35 years. However, President Museveni is set to swear in on the 12th of May, and that's our big story of the day. You will call in later and tell us exactly what you think about President Museveni swearing in. Is anything going to be any different after 35 years with the same government in power? Personally, I've never seen any other president swearing in apart from His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. However, we do have a story from the NUP camp where Bobi Wine continues to assure his supporters that he will get Museveni out of power even after the swearing in. But I'd like to start off your morning by telling you that it is a new week. It is a new time for you to start new opportunities. And of course, be aware that if you don't set any goals, then you will not have anything else to achieve. Of course, we are all running around looking for success. Make sure you have those goals that you have set aside for you to be able to achieve your dreams. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how long you've been at it, how long you've been trying, how long you've been trying to press in and finding out exactly what to do to bring you this success. All that matters is that if it is a new day, it is a new chance for you to live once again. The fact that you're still alive alone means that God still needs you for a purpose on this earth. And I'm one of those people who don't believe that we were born to go to school, get a job, and die at 45 years life expectancy. I believe there's a lot more to each person out there, and you do not know the power that you have until you sit down, listen to your inner self, and get to know what exactly you're supposed to be doing. My name is Carol Tumwine. Welcome to the first show, and please do not forget to follow us on our social media platforms. That's at STV Uganda, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We are live on Facebook as well as our YouTube channel, STV Uganda. Please do go down there, comment on our topic of the day. Like I've told you, it is the swearing in week, and do you think that the government is going to be any different from what it has been since the leader has been the same for the last 35 years? I'll tell you what I think about it. You'll tell me what you think about it, and we shall continue to have a one-on-one discussion. It is 37 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock, and we started a little bit late. But I would like to remind you to always believe in yourself, because your only limitation is your imagination. What you imagine, you become. Thoughts become things, and what you think is highly, highly connected to who you are as a person. And if you change that today, who knows? You might as well get better with time if your imagination is in good condition. Also, don't forget to go to work, because even the Bible says, in tiatako letalie. So make sure you are out there going out to look for something to do. It could be business. It could be if you could be an academician, and you could have an office job. Please do go out there and do whatever it takes to represent yourself and say, here I am, God. Let's start from here. I am working. This is what I'm contributing, so that you can bless the work of my hands. Push yourself, because no one else is going to do it for you. And it does not matter anything that you're doing. You push yourself first, and then others will catch up slowly by slowly. But do not forget that as you push yourself, don't forget to give yourself a break, a breather, so that you remind yourself of the goals you set earlier, and as well motivate yourself highly to do better and better each day that comes. Sometimes later becomes never. So stop your procrastination and do what you are supposed to do just now. I believe you've just woken up. Maybe you are preparing tea for your husband or your children. You are preparing tea for yourself. If you're single like myself, you are preparing tea for anybody around you. If you are waiting for the tea to be prepared for you in cases of men, then this is your show to start your day. But please do not forget that as you go about your morning, as you relax and think good thoughts for your day, as you calm down and realize that actually life is going to go on, whatever you're going through, don't forget to to do that thing now and stop procrastinating, because the more you push it further and further, you might just never do it. As one of those things that we do know that pushes us is the fact that we are able to wake up every morning to go out there and do what is required of us. Of course, great things never come from comfort zones. Every time you feel like you are in a comfort zone, it means something is not going right somewhere, and it is your time to wake up very quickly and step out of that and go ahead to do what it takes to get on ground and represent yourself in the world of work. Don't forget to enjoy yourself, especially if it gets to the weekend. Don't forget to enjoy yourself. Spend some of your money, because who knows what tomorrow holds. Well, I'd like to start off by telling you we have a number of stories. The first one being the Emyoga project that has contributed over 9 billion shillings to the economy right now and is continuing to help some of our different sectors. Actually, I think almost all sectors are covered, but it all goes back to exactly what plans that the Emyoga had, looking at the people that are being helped, including journalists, performing artists, carpenters, very many sectors that we are going to take a look at. Some of the people are still complaining that they weren't part of this project. Some of these people include the people who own washing bays. How we forget some of these projects, because I wasn't remembering that the people who own washing bays really should be part of the Emyoga project. But we're going to look at that story. Then I also have a story from Bobi Wine, who says, I am not going anywhere until I see President Museveni out of power, which connects us to our topic of discussion of the day, which will be Museveni of swearing in on Wednesday this week. What do you think about it? Then I'd like to start off with police in Kampala, who have started an investigation into circumstances under which 2 private vehicles were targeted with petrol bombs during traffic jam. Now, of course, according to the Kampala Metropolitan Deputy Spokesperson Luke Owoisijire, the 2 separate incidents happened simultaneously on Thursday evening, where groups of people hurled at the bombs at the vehicles before vanishing in thin air. Now, the first incident was reported by a local called Shafiq, a plumber and a resident of Nigeria municipality. Now, he reported a case of arson on his motor vehicle registration number UAJ320 Corona, green in color. Now, this was reported by unknown people to him along Chireka Highway. Now, he explained that preliminary investigations and CCTV cameras have indicated that the victim didn't see attackers, but as he drove home, he noticed fire flames on his car boot and was helped by the public to extinguish the fire. Of course, we do thank God that the fire was extinguished before he could get burnt, but police are continuing to investigate exactly what this issue was about and who those culprits were. I don't think that the CCTV cameras are going to help us very much, because, of course, when somebody comes to attack you, they don't come plain-headed. They must have been putting on hoods, putting on jumpers with those cover-ups, and it's going to be very hard to notice who exactly these terrorists are. But these are not the first incidences we've seen, as we remember the Chadondo 2010 bombings that happened down in Chadondo, as well as the Italian village here in Muyanga, where not even the Maje, like it's called, were aware that these terrorists are going to cause havoc. However, we do thank the police for being on ground this time around, because as soon as it was reported, police was able to come in and combat the situation. Investigations are ongoing, and of course, police noticed that the victim alleges the victim allegations while in the vehicle. She had a loud bang on the driver's side and immediately saw fire. This was in the second vehicle. Now, of course, according to police, the second incident happened towards the Chireka police station, and one Rose Chasimire, a resident of Shira, who was moving in a double cabin UAY 679P and was in traffic jam, had the vehicle set on fire by unknown persons moving to a motorcycle. Now, this could be a move of these thieves to, of course, start to rob you as you're in your car, because I'm imagining since this is the second incident that is reported, there must be a group of people behind it who have sat down and said, okay, how do we combat this Kampala here? Because as we do know, the financial state of everybody in Uganda is not in its best form. So I think some of these notorious people will go to the far ends of the earth to see what it takes to survive. And I think one of those ways that they're coming up with is by burning these vehicles. So they set up a fire near you, and probably when you jump out, who knows, they steal the car. But according to police, this was a plan for the cars to be bombed down, and of course the victims were expected to die. I really do hope it's not political this time around. I hope we don't politicize it and say it's one of the opposition or the people in government that are trying so hard to do that. Now, it's very, very unfortunate, because when you look at the cars, both cars, you will notice that the fire started from the back of these cars, and if it had started from the driver's place, then the survival rate would be very, very minimal. But the victims were able to jump out immediately and were helped by locals and residents to put out this fire. Like I've told you, the fire was started by unknown people who would come and throw some of the triggers behind, like for example the double cabin that you're seeing on your screen. When you look at the black part, the patch that is showing where the fire began from, it is very, very scary, because lives could have been lost. And we hope that the police comes out to warn. I'm sure there's a presser today by the police at the Central Police Station. I hope that Luko Isijire will come out and warn the public or whoever is there, could be Fred Enanga, warn the public strongly against such kinds of crimes against humanity. This is very, very dangerous. And the problem with Uganda is that the moment a group of people starts something, immediately there's going to be another one that's going to want to duplicate it and as if support it. Yeah. If we look at, for example, any business that happens, it could be the chapati stall. If you start a chapati stall here right now in Buziga, just down here, before evening, you'll find the whole row full of chapati stores. And what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of copycatism in Uganda, and I hope that this is not one of the things that we are going to copy, especially these notorious groups that like jumping on anything that comes around. It's very, very unfortunate. Police say they've kicked off investigations into the bomb attacks with the view of finding out the person or groups of people behind the same that they believe are well coordinated. Of course, we hope that CCTV cameras will do their work this time around. We've seen incidents where border riders were murdered by unknown people who claimed to be passengers and ended up being murderers and thieves. But CCTV cameras came out to help release the footage, and of course we would in the videos identify that this person was wearing such and such a thing, but we were unable to tell exactly the faces of these people. I hope that this time round it's going to be a little bit different, and the CCTV cameras will help us curb the culprits. Or if not that, then the intelligence should come out and use some other certain tricks to make sure that they curb such an act. Because imagine being in your car, driving in the morning to wherever you're going, and all of a sudden you hear a fire or you see a fire on your same car that you're seated in. There's that panic that you get. I really, really do thank God that these two drivers were able to stop very fast and get out without any problem, without being hurt or anything like that. Because if you think about the happenings that happened in these two incidents, anything bad could have happened. Other cars on the road as well could have caught the fire, and it was going to be a very dangerous thing. Now, I'm only imagining if these drivers were in an isolated place and in a lonely place, for example, like in a residential area, this inside there in the road, and then such an incident happened, and then there are no locals to help you identify what's going on. There are no people to help you, in the community come around and help you put out the fire. What would have happened if that was the incident? Of course, we would have had lives lost, as well as properties like the cars lost. But as we can see, the cars still survived, and it is said to be that the plan was to bomb them down with petrol. However, we shall wait for the police report about that. Well, In the police's own words, they say they believe it was a well-coordinated attempt to cause harm on the occupants of the two motor vehicles, but luckily none was injured. Well, the two vehicles are currently parked at Chira police station and investigations are going on. Now, in the past, there have been incidents of attacks, especially in Kampala metropolitan areas, using petrol bombs. Like I told you, the incidents that started last year targeted government vehicles, but also petrol stations. It is very absurd that they targeted government vehicles, because now that becomes political. And the more we go into politics, the more we get to be divided. And divided we fall, of course, because united we stand. So if you see anything suspicious around your area like this one, if you see people trying to go around somebody's car, you get run quickly and inform the authorities, like the security personnel, and say, hey, I've seen a group of people. They are trying something on someone's car, and it could be a bit dangerous. Save the community in that way, and don't wait for anything bad to happen to them. Well, we do thank the police again for being on guard, because we also do thank the public at large for being on guard and coming to the rescue of these two people. However, it should not be forgotten that these two people don't know each other. The incidents happen differently but simultaneously. So we can't relate the two for now, unless police comes out with its investigation report and says that maybe the two were connected or something like that. We are not sure up to when the police will release a report about this particular story. Well, I get to move on to my next story, Emyoga Savings, which has hit 9 billion Uganda shillings in 9 months. Of course, we should remember that implementers and beneficiaries of the Emyoga project are quite a number, including journalists like myself. Well, the livelihood program on Friday converged. Members of the livelihood program, members of the Emyoga, converged on Friday in Kampala for an early review of the project's operation and to see exactly how the project is doing, what are they lacking, what have they not done well, and what is expected of them in the rest of the year. Of course, during the stakeholders engagement here in Kampala, the Microfinance Support Center director, that is Ms. Helen Masika, called out the counted several benefits registered by her institution as the implementing agency of the fund, including the 9.8 million in members' savings. Now, of course, this is a very, very commendable thing, especially if you are out there and you have some friends who you can come together and create a circle of this kind and keep saving up your money. Who knows, you and your friends could also hit 9.8 billion Ugandan shillings by the end of this year. I hope you bring me some for this expert advice. That was for free. Masika explained, of course, that the core objective of transforming Uganda into a middle-income status has gained a boost of 634 savings and cooperatives, which are SACCOs, and have already been established with 205 parish-based Emyoga associations, bringing together more than 4 million people. We should remember that it was formed in August 2019 by the President, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, as a response to the high levels of poverty, where 68% of Ugandans depend on subsistence farming. Of course, Masika explained that under the Emyoga project, the 200 billion shillings has already been dispersed to 6,394 SACCOs in 146 districts. However, if it was a project to eradicate poverty, why didn't they get money individually and give each person money? Say they ask me, Carol Tumine, what exactly do you want to do for yourself? And I tell them, hey, I have an idea. I want to start a business of maybe making pads. And then they say, how much do you need? And I say, I need 2.5 million shillings. And they're like, here you go. This is your money. Please account for it at the end of maybe 6 months, and you can go ahead and start. Instead of course, putting it in the community and in the circles, you don't know who gets what, who controls the money, how much money goes into different people's pockets, because there's going to be a lot of hullabaloo. But that is how they chose to do it, and we are assessing and looking at exactly how this Emyoga project is going. Well, we we shouldn't forget that the greatest achievement is that by April, the SACCOs had saved 9.8 billion shillings. Of course, this boosts the economy in ways we cannot understand. But I really hope that after the COVID-19 situation, that we do hope gets better after the swearing in, then projects like Emyoga will continue to hit their targets and hit even higher because this is positive in regards to the poor savings culture in the country. Now, of course, this lady, the chief executive, says that the country as Uganda as a whole is very poor when it comes to savings. But if I would like to ask myself that if there is a poverty line and most of the Ugandans are below this poverty line, how do you expect them to save? Yet they are living from hand to mouth. We look at countries like Italy that have jumped that poverty line. We look at countries like China, Dubai, every country that we started with way back in the 1880s and a long time ago that were on a same level like ours, or on the same level like us those days. Their economies have grown so fast and so big to the extent that they've achieved middle income status very fast. South Africa, Nigeria, some of our own countries in Africa have also gone ahead and acquired such middle income status cause. But for Uganda, I don't know what the problem is, why we are still below the poverty line. If you look at the villages, oh my God, if you look at exactly where we come from, deep down those ends, first get out of Kampala, because by the time you're in Kampala and you are surviving, it means that of course you can be able to sustain yourself. But there are people in the villages who are struggling with getting food, and the only relief that comes is once in a while when there's a disaster like the COVID-19 relief food that came. What do you expect these people to do that are below the poverty line? Well, don't forget that some of these people don't have access to land. We keep talking about commercial farming. Right now, the only, even subsistence farming, if you take a look at families that do not have any land to farm on, that means that they will not actually be able to eat because they can't even go to dig on their own. So it's not good, of course, to blame them and shift blame games from one person to the other and tell them how exactly they don't want to work hard and how they're just waiting for government. What should they do? And of course, but Emyoga targets 18 constellations, including restaurant owners, boarders, women entrepreneurs, carpenters, saloon operators, journalists, people with disabilities, fishermen, mechanics, performing artists, taxi operators, among others. But the Ministry of Microfinance, which disperses the money and gives technical support to this program, says that each constituency in Uganda is expected to receive about 560 million shillings. Of course, much as we can get to know about the amounts that are expected to be received by each district from this Emyoga project, the fact that we do not know how this money is going to be accounted for remains on our heads as Ugandans. Because if there was an accountability program, or if there was a program that exactly shows how this money is going to be broken down, what it's going to do, how exactly it's going to develop the people that it's meant to develop, then maybe we would say it is a very good then the implementing agency of this Ministry of Microfinance recommended a normal share value for each member to get 100,000 shillings and 50,000 shillings for membership. Of course, interest would also have to range between 8 and 12% per annum on any borrowed funds. However, the people who have so far benefited from this Emyoga project have this to say about it. They say that they are very happy that this came to their aid to help them eradicate the poverty out of their lives. For example, there's these women who bought sewing machines after receiving this money, and they really say it has helped them a great deal, since they do not have to run to tailor their own fabrics and then run to somebody to help them sew it together and, for example, kind of master it. And they've been able to do that themselves. And they also, other people who have benefited from this project also say that it has been good for them to stop taking pictures with their property while getting loans from other banks. So now you just go put yourself on one of these circles and are able to get funding and help from these Emyooga projects. Florence Namaganda, one of the members of the Uganda Municipality Constituents Tailoring Circle, said they supplemented the 30 million shillings from Emyooga to buy multi-purpose overlock sewing machines that can trim, that can stitch, that can overcast at the same time. And she says Emyooga also saved members from that loan stigma. So they bought machines that could do the all-round things that they would initially be running here and there to solve. Of course, this is a very, very good initiative. So by April this year, the circles had saved 9.9 billion shillings, like I've told you. But who gets this money? How is this money being used? And how do we make sure that all the planned sectors receive equal amounts of this money and use it to their advantage? If you take a look at journalists, for example, I remember one time I was in the newsroom and there was news that Emyooga money was being given out to journalists. So I was like, okay, maybe I should find my way there. And then somebody let me know that I'm not yet qualified to receive that Emyooga money. So I don't know how the qualifications are built up to make sure that you do qualify to get some of this money, but we do hope for all the best for the Emyooga program. Well, it shouldn't be forgotten that the business development services and collaborations managers are trying to get poor people to improve their lives, their life standards, to improve their standard of living, and of course go above the poverty line. He said poor people, especially women, have limited access to finance as a result of lack of collateral. So you cannot be given a loan if you do not have collateral. If you do not have any property to show so that you get a loan, you cannot be helped. That means that if you are poor, you're going to remain poor, because even if you wanted to start something of your own, you can't access the funds because you don't have anything to show, like any collateral. So some of the Emyooga beneficiaries also go ahead to say they no longer need to take their pieces of finishing elsewhere, and they are happy that they do not need to be photographed with their property by the village banks, and so Emyooga has really come to our aid. Well, we do hope that the original plan of the Emyooga really is carried out, and everybody gets to benefit from this project, and poverty eradication is finally made a reality. But we should not forget that it is not that easy to eradicate poverty, since we have been at it for the last 35 years, and up to now we are still struggling here and there with very poor people. If you have your poor people in the village, that you can know what I'm talking about when I say that we need to eradicate poverty and go above the poverty line. However, we should not forget that in Museveni's swearing in, he's of course going to talk about some of these things, and we hope that this time around what is promised will finally become a reality. It is 7 a.m. according to my watch, and I'm going to take a very short break. And when I return, I read you a story from the Bobi Wine camp, where he is saying that he is the legitimate president-elect who must be sworn in, since 59% of his votes were stolen by the incoming president, and he will not agree with that at all.